Hi everyone, welcome to Cheltenham Chat, episode 12. 6 weeks to the festival now. So today I'm going to talk about, the week's racing obviously, and then a couple of things that I think have to be said. The Irish handicapping, and also something that I noticed on a bet that was put up on the road to Cheltenham, and I think, even though it's maybe a bit controversial, I would say listening to Ruby Walsh may not be as advisable as a lot of people think. So I'll get on to that later on, but we'll get on to the week of racing first. And obviously what I put up is my view, and my view on the race at Thurles on Wednesday was that Allaho has run fantastically, I thought. Now I'm a bit biased about Allaho, we have to clarify that, but I really thought he ran well. I thought he went off really fast. He drew the sting out of all the rivals that tried to go with him, and even the ones who sat off the pace. When Ellie May came to him, he just went away from her again, and I thought it was a great Ryanair trial, even though he'd only given her £4, and he was rated £13 superior to her, so he was rightful to be able to beat her. And I suppose on her first run, he maybe should have beaten her by further. But I was surprised to speak to a couple of knowledgeable racing people after who weren't as impressed as me, and so I've got to take my view maybe with a little bit of pinch of salt myself, because I was really impressed. I thought Allaho ran a fabulous race, and I was feeling quite happy with myself about his performance until the others sort of put a damper on it for me. But I thought he was really good myself. In second was Ellie May. Now, she has run a fabulous race on her chasing debut for this season. I thought it was a great effort from her, and it augurs well for the mare's chase that she's run this well against a 160 rated rival. Earlier on the card, Colreevy had won, and I have to say she was slower than Ellie May, but I also just wasn't so impressed with her, and I can see her staying in the novice division and going for the race at Limerick that everyone's talking about. But obviously she'd be a tough rival for Ellie May if she did run, but there's plenty more in that race than those two. There's possibility of even Benny Deju from their own yard, Dame de Company, Put the Kettle On, whoever rocks up in the race. So it's not done and dusted. Happy Diva, Shattered Love, etc. Also on the card, I'd heard a good word for, I think it was Soldier of Destiny in the bumper. And he was back from 14-1 into 92, so he was no back number, but he was absolutely thrashed by Noble Yeats. And this must be a half-decent horse to be able to beat a well-touted horse who's been heavily backed. Noble Yeats thrashed him. So Noble Yeats was a bit of an eye-catcher for Emmett Mullins in that race. On the Thursday in the Thyestes, Cocoa Beach. This is going to be a theme, I think, this season, that Gigginstown are going to get good handicap marks for their horses, because they don't really have Grade 1 horses this season, so they're going to target the big handicaps. They've won this with Cocoa Beach. They've rocked up with the excuse that Blinkers settled the horse down, and that's made an improvement. I would just say that he got well handicapped, £18-20 below where he should have been. And we'll get on to that further as we go along. The Galway hurdle really didn't... Sam's profile was good, but I don't see him as a stairs hurdle horse, so I would be leaving him alone. On Friday, there was talk of Flinter Sacre being a supreme horse. That can be well and truly snuffed out now. He was not good at all. Shishkin just did what Shishkin should have done, really. There wasn't a lot of opposition, really. Eldorado Allen was there, but his stable's so out of form, and Fastback fell, so it was really a bit of a schooling in public. But the horse has won at 1-7 like he should, and he's now about 4-5 for the Arkle. But he's got a tough rival, and I think odds-on's a wee bit harsh at the moment. And then there was today, Oh, well, yesterday the Sky Bet Chase Captain Ord couldn't win off 136, even though he goes up to 139 soon. I think a couple of bad jumps probably put him on the back foot there. Now, at Naas today, I wouldn't have said the Limestone Lad hurdle would have thrown up much that we could be using for the Cheltenham Festival. But the chase, Eclat de Rire, was fabulous. His jumping was brilliant. He wasn't even hit with a whip. And he looked a right good horse. Whether he goes RSA or National Hunt Chase, I wouldn't know. But I was keen on him in the weekend preview with Gary, and he was very good on the day, and he's been clipped down from 33s to 10s. And it just shows that watching all the different videos will sometimes bring a horse to your attention that you've not been aware of. And that was the same for me when I watched that Racing Willows video with Dan Overall. And they were talking about this Eclat de Rire, and I went back and looked at all his races and suddenly became aware of this thing could be a really good chaser, and he was really good. And I really do recommend that you watch all the videos because, I mean, you see things in the videos that, I mean, like, I watched Cheltenham's video, and he was on with a lad that's doing the GG tips, and he's backing these horses himself, and that's what you really need. You need to be watching lads who are putting their own money on, and I'm going to get to that why I'm mentioning this soon, but like, I'll just say that up in the ante, Gavin Lynch put up Ellie May at 12 to 1, and Andrew, who I do the weekend previews with, Gary, he'd also put Ellie May up at 12 to 1, and I'm saying this for a reason at the moment. So Eclat de Rire was really good. I didn't see much in the hurdle race to take out of it. Bacchus on one, but I wouldn't say any of them would be winning at Cheltenham. And then we were on to the Hunter Chase, and Billoway managed to win despite numerous jumping errors. And if this horse can brush up its jumping, it will justify favouritism in the Fox Hunters, no problem at all. But really, this jumping display was not good, and you'd have to worry about an 11 to 4 favourite who jumps as poorly as this. He has to get better than this going to Cheltenham. But it was mighty impressive that he had the engine to go and win, even showing that jumping errors all over the place. And I mean, he was dropping back from, say, 3rd into 5th and 6th, just over an obstacle, so he really needs to improve that before he goes to Cheltenham. So what was I going to say about the Irish handicappers? Well, Captain Ord was racing yesterday off 136 after being put up, I think, £6 for coming second to Royal Pagal. Now, he's now due to go up another £3 just because Royal Pagal won. So he's now on a mark of 139. He couldn't justify going off 136 and winning, yet he's up to 139. He's £1 lower than Run Wild Fred, who came second in the Thyestes, because the Irish handicapper has only seen fit to put him up by £4 for a run way above his handicap mark last time out, where he's thrashed Acapulco Bourgeois and various horses off 150 plus. Yes, he was off 136, but he's beaten them out of sight, and he's only been put up £4, which now puts the English handicapper under a lot of pressure when he adds on any weight for the handicaps at Cheltenham. If he puts up £6 on this horse, then he'll be out of the Kim Muir. But if the horse had been put up the amount it should have been put up by the Irish handicapper, the British handicapper wouldn't have a choice to make. Is Run Wild Fred only £1 better chaser than Captain Ord? I don't think so myself. And this is why I'm saying about these Gigginstown handicappers. There's going to be a lot of them that are going to be well handicapped for Cheltenham. And even though JP always seems to hold the upper hand, I don't know if he's going to have even his horses handicapped well enough to be able to beat these Gigginstown horses, who are definitely being aimed at the handicaps this season, I would think, because they just simply don't have Grade 1 horses. Finally, today, I've been going on about Ellie May, I've been going on about certain things and people putting horses up. I think a lot of people watch the road to Cheltenham thinking that they're going to get a huge insight from Ruby Walsh, and if he puts up a Willie Mullins horse, that they've got to dive in. Now, he put up Allaho last week, and what you have to realise is that maybe he does think Allaho could win, but he put him up each way, and then he came back last week saying that Min's got more speed and he wanted to put Min up as well. Well, they both can't win, that's for sure. But it's a tough race, the Ryanair. It could be really, really hard to win that, even trying to beat their stablemate, Mellon. But the one I want to talk about is Ellie May. He works in that yard, yet he only saw fit to put Ellie May up after she'd been cut from 12 to 1 to 5 to 1 for running well against Allaho. Now, if you were really getting inside information or some sort of like value bet, Ruby would have put that horse up at 12 to 1, but he didn't. He waited until it was 5 to 1. Let's not forget he's paid by Paddy Power as well for some of the work he does there. So just bear some of these things in mind. But what I want to talk about is the Ellie May bet at 5 to 1. People would have been scurrying to the bookmakers to back that 5 to 1. Now, yesterday afternoon, Tony Keenan put a tweet up, and the tweet said, "Is there a penalty structure for the Mayor's Chase, which Ellie May would go for?" And the first respondent was a certain Joe Chambers. If you don't know who he is, you can maybe look him up. But anyway, Mr. Chambers said that there was a penalty structure for this race, and when you look into that penalty structure, out of the 3 horses potentially running in the Mayor's Chase, Coldeavy would have a £5 penalty, Ellie May would have a £3 penalty, and a certain Benny Juju would have no penalty. Now, look at the respondent. Do we know where Benny's going? Who knows where Benny's going? Is 5 to 1 Ellie May a value price if Benny Juju runs? So sometimes when someone comes along and you think they've given you something that you didn't know, sometimes you maybe have to look a little bit behind and see, well, what have they really given me here? Because he could have given that horse out at 12 to 1. He waited till it was 5 to 1. That's nearly 2/3 of the price gone, and you still don't know where Benny's going. So you may have no value at all. I'm just putting that out. I know people think that Ruby is some sort of god when he's on the television, but I don't think he's telling you any of the secrets out of Willie Mullins yard. And if I was a punter wanting to find a bet, I'd be far more likely to look on YouTube and look at some of the videos that are there and the boys that are trying to make a profit and that are trying to put their money on and like needing to make a profit, rather than someone who's being paid by the yard, who is giving his horses out, and being paid by a bookmaker as well, because I don't think they're as likely to give you a value bet as the guy who's trying to make a few quid. So anyway, my eye catcher this week, Eclat de Rire of Henry de Bromhead's fantastic performance. Where he goes at Cheltenham, I don't really know. The week ahead is exciting, very exciting indeed. The Dublin Racing Festival. I may do a preview video, or I may just do the video with Gary and Andrew like I have done the last few weeks. Slightly more successful this weekend than I was last weekend, but it's very tough at the moment, and I'm seeing a lot of punters really struggling. So yeah, the odd winner here and there until we get to Cheltenham will do fine, and then hopefully we can make a profit at Cheltenham. Even though the anti-post book isn't looking good, I hope that your book's looking better. And like I say, you should always be making your own mind up about bets. From me or from anyone else, it should always be your choice when you put the money off. So looking forward to the Dublin Racing Festival, like I say. Hope you've enjoyed today's episode. A lot of views last week, mostly from non-subscribers. So, but we still got that core group that are watching every week. Thanks for watching today. I'll be back to you next Monday, because the Sunday racing will be very exciting. I won't get the video up next Sunday, but I'll probably have a preview video up either with Gary or on my own. Thanks for watching today. Have a great week. Bye for now.